We're on lesson 24. I'm going to talk a little bit about layers and continue with this device of the proxy object for the stair. Let's start with it. The stair has, in tandem with its component, an enclosure for that stair, which I've placed on its own layer and hidden. If I turn that layer on, right, you can see it reveals this sort of clear glass enclosure for that. So if I double click this component, it's showing me the two instances thereof, and I select the group that is in that stair volume, and I placed it on its own enclosure, I can hide that layer so it doesn't interfere with my modeling. When I select the component, naturally it reveals its extent. So let me show you how this works. The stair is actually inside the stairwell in the model. So I'm going to turn off the visibility of the exterior walls on both level 1 and level 2. And as I started to say, I also want to, you always should have layers with doors, exterior, windows. Well, we don't need to specify exterior because there aren't any instances of interior windows here. So a handy use of the outliner in SketchUp, which I'm going to add to my tray here. Sorry for that pause. There's a tray material. Go to that tray and you can check one of the elements that you want there. So you see, if I select any element, group, component, whatever it is, it reveals itself in this outliner. We can also assign a name to that group. For instance, this is a group of interior walls. That is a separate group which we could call an elevator. Well, these are interior walls, so I can select that group, right-click and rename, context-click and rename this interior, all right, walls, interior, floor 2. Okay, so that when I select this, that's what it's giving me. This is very convenient as your model starts to get populated with lots of components and groups. You want to start to keep track of those things. Technically, this wants to be walls, interior, elevator, 2, floor 2. Windows. Notice that when I select a window, it's highlighted here as well. I could simply select them in the outliner, add the window, kitchen window selection to it. So now I've selected all my windows very easily. I could context click and place those on the window layer. And if I wanted to hide those, I could turn them off very easily. So the outliner is a very powerful SketchUp tool that allows you to organize your components and groups and assign them meaningful names and otherwise track them. Okay, 5 minutes. There, I'm selecting my stair. If I double click, you see that the modifying instance of this stair will modify the instance of the stair component there as well. So that's what I call the power of the proxy object. So I'm going to double click on this. Because all of this is grouped, I can draw on it without worrying that it will stick to other geometries. So I'm drawing a line that's going to represent, and I'm going to use this to represent one of the railings. I'm going to move that line in the vertical direction 36 inches. Okay, I'm going to draw the extension at the top of it, which is 12 inches beyond the top landing, 12 inches beyond the bottom. So that's kind of standing in for my railing. Let's draw a circle with a diameter of about 1.5 inches. That'll represent the thickness of the rail itself. Note that I can, pressing the arrow keys allow me to draw on one axis or the other. So the axis I want to be perpendicular to the red axis. Right? Let's double check. Yeah, that's the red axis. So I want to draw the circle on the green axis. Let's draw the circle. Left arrow. Click here. Drag to radius would be 0.75, right? So there's the shape that we want to push-pull along this path. Let's select the outline, select Follow Me, actually, let's select the path first. Follow Me, and then the shape. Oh, sorry for the pause. The circle wants to be drawn on the red axis, so that it's perpendicular to this line. So double click. Triple click to select that path, those lines that are consecutive. Then you select Follow Me, and you want to select the outline of the circle. We can triple click, make this a component. Remember, this is going to be nested. Railing 1. Now, because this is a scissor back stair, that railing will actually do on all 4 sides of the stair where it's going to occur, because this stair is symmetrical on both from flight to flight. So let's see what we can do about replicating that. I'm going to select that component, make a copy of it first across, starting here, dragging in that direction, control 36 inches. So we have now copy of that component on either side of the stair here. I also need a copy of that at the ground level. So let's just copy, select both those instances of that, drag downward the z-axis. So the height of the stair, 9.4, we're going to drag downward to half of that, which would be 4.5 feet, 4.6, 1.747. You can do this math ahead of time. You can perform it incorrectly, as I did. I think I did half that. Let's drag it down another 4.7. Okay, that appears to be in the right place. Okay. However, we need to reverse the direction. We can right-click and say flip along the blue. I think the blue direction will just reverse direction. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of trial and error here. So that's a little lower than we need for those to be. Oh, of course, then we have to move it across to that first stair. So let's move it. Let's select. Oops. Doesn't matter which component you're modifying. Let's move it. I think it's 3 feet 4 inches in this direction. 3, 4 to get it over to where it belongs. Let's look at this object from the front. And clearly, that needs to move upward. Lock that axis in place. Okay, snapping to the bottom of that tread and now raising this 36 inches should give us, yeah, that looks about where we would want that stair, those stair railings to be. This is not intended to be an exhaustive lesson on how to model stairs. You could get very, very involved in the details. Of course, this is just a railing. You would, depending on the situation, a commercial, public environment, want to model a guardrail as well, which is going to be not 3 feet above the stair, but 3.6 minimum, so that one doesn't, that protects the public from falling into the stairwell. But I just wanted to show you how this system of modeling an instance of that component that you can more easily see allows you to modify the component itself. Once you're done with this, you can dispose of it.